Hello and welcome and happy Tuesday. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. You are live with It's All About Choices, and I am Sandra, your RDN, where every Tuesday I have the pleasure of dishing out your weekly dose of nutrition and wellness news for your mind and your body and your soul. And I hope that everyone is having a wonderful Valentine's Day so far, and I hope you're having a wonderful week. And I thank you for tuning in with me live, for those who tune in with me live on a regular basis. And even if this is your first time, I am honored and happy that you've taken a little break out of your schedule to tune in and to get some news that would definitely benefit you from the inside out, your mind, your body, and your soul. And for those who are listening to the replay, I thank you for taking time out to pause for a moment and to tune in and to have a little time of self care for yourself as well. And so we are continuing on our theme of Fall into Your Heart series. And so February is Heart Health Month. And this series is all about protecting your heart, keeping it strong, adding years to your life. And today we are talking about blood pressure, how weight impacts, and 3 tips on how to reduce stress on your heart. Okay. And so, do you step on the scale regularly to check your weight? Ask yourself that. Do you avoid getting on the scale to check your weight? Okay. Kind of that love hate relationship. And there are benefits to getting on the scale on a regular basis, such as assessing your overall health risk for chronic disease. Okay. Because there are many chronic diseases are very much nutrition and weight related. And maintaining a healthy weight for your height is essential to preventing and or managing high blood pressure. I know for one, my weight is very, very sensitive to and my blood pressure is very, very sensitive to my weight. And so blood pressure is known as the silent killer. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't have to. So we have the ability to change and take control of this. Okay. So take a break, warm up your lunch, and make note of the 3 must-knows that you can do to manage or prevent. I love to prevent high blood pressure. And a quick introduction of myself. And as you are tuning in, please feel free to say your name, where you're tuning in from, and give me just a second. I am going to put my windows up so that I am able to see your comments and I'm able to tune in and say and reply to you by your names. I love engagement. So do not hesitate to, okay, I got one going here. We go. Have one window going here, and let's get the second one going. I think we got it going here. Let's see here. All right, I think we got it going there. So thank you for that. And so as you're tuning in, please feel free to share your name and where you're tuning in from. And for those who don't know me, my name is Sandra Goltry, and I am a registered dietitian, and I'm also a certified personal trainer and your accountability partner. And pulling from a variety of weight loss and lifestyle strategies, I help adults integrate healthier eating habits into their daily lifestyle. And so it's about building habits and lifestyle habits that last the long haul, not a band-aid or not a short-term fix. And it's different for everybody. Okay. Everybody has a different lifestyle, everybody has a different routine. And so it's very specific to the person. And in 2023, my motto is creating a lifestyle of change. Okay. And this is a piggyback off of 2022, which is breaking those food strongholds. And so, again, chime in as you are tuning in. And we are, again, continuing on the Fall into Your Heart series. And we're talking about blood pressure today and how weight impacts your blood pressure, and 3 tips on how to reduce the stress on your heart. And so, I always have a poll question that I like to ask. And so, if you have high blood pressure, or if you know someone who has high blood pressure, then tune in. And at risk means that your blood pressure is elevated. Sometimes you'll hear it referred to as pre-hypertension, but not high enough to exactly say high blood pressure and to consider putting you on meds. And so if you are at risk, say that. Or if you have high blood pressure yourself, such as I have high blood pressure, as well as, or if you know somebody who's either has the diagnosis or they are elevated, or the high blood pressure is elevated. And so I was diagnosed with essential hypertension, which is unknown cause. We can kind of say it's genetics, but I was diagnosed in my early 30s. Okay. And it was a previous live that I went into all those details, but it definitely was a journey for me. It was a life-changing event for me, and is what led me to change careers from corporate America to doing what I'm doing to help people to not really go through what I went through. Of course, we want to prevent things, and so it's always great to prevent, but we definitely can prolong many chronic diseases. And just because it's in our family, just because it's our mothers, our grandparents, our fathers have it, that does not necessarily mean we are destined to get it. There are many things that are modifiable that we are able to do and that we are able to control. And that's what I'm here for. And that's what I do. And so today's training, we're going to cover or uncover the 3 must knows that you can do to prevent and or manage high blood pressure. Okay. And let's see here. Hey, Nikki. Hey, my clone sister from the Marching 100 in the house. Good to see you. And so let's go into number 1. Okay. Number 1 must know, exercise more. Okay. So a lot of times people will attribute exercise to weight loss, a direct correlation to exercise more, I'll lose weight more, or I'll lose weight faster. So not necessarily the case. Exercise, think of, and especially when you're trying to lose weight, eating, your nutrition, your lifestyle, such as your sleep, stress management, all that has more of an impact on your weight. Exercise, yes, it works together synergistically because you want to build muscle, you want to have muscle tone. However, the de facto is your eating. Once you lose the weight and you reach your goal, then exercise is more of a factor in maintaining that weight loss and maintain that weight loss. Exercising is definitely very important and definitely de facto in managing your health, as far as heart health, as far as blood sugar, as far as blood pressure, and things of that nature. And so that's kind of, but they both work together synergistically. You don't do one or the other, but you don't want to. A lot of times people think that the exercise is what trumps when it comes down to losing weight, and it's really the food. Okay. So that's what I wanted to kind of make that little plug in. And so those that know me for a while, you know that I am a certified personal trainer, and not all movements control or contribute to overall heart health. Okay. It's more about exercising more or harder, or it's less about that really, and it's about exercising effectively. Okay. So that don't mean you, just because you're working out 7 days a week, just because you're doing 2 and 3 hours in the gym, that does not necessarily mean that it's effective and that is efficient. Okay. So you want to make sure that what you're doing is actually promoting heart health. Okay. We want to make sure we're cross training. We want to make sure we're not just doing all cardio. We're not doing any resistance. We're not doing any stretching, and we need to have rest days in order for our bodies to function. And so, for an example, many people walk 10,000 steps in a day. That's great. It's better than nothing. However, that's kind of part of your normal day. So it's not really exercising your heart. Your heart is a muscle. So you want to do exercise, structured exercise that is long enough in order to exercise your heart and to get your heart rate in a zone to where you're actually burning calories and making it stronger. And so, for instance, strive for a 15-minute mile. Okay, it's not a jog, but it is a brisk walk versus just trying to aim for 10,000 steps. So hopefully you'll see that there's a difference between exercising and you want to exercise effectively, and more doesn't always mean that you're going to get better results or faster results. Okay, and so effective physical activity not only helps control your blood pressure, but it also helps you to manage your weight, strengthen your heart, lower stress levels, and a healthy weight, a strong heart, and general emotional health are all good for your blood pressure, because it depends on how sensitive you are. Anything can spike your blood pressure up. Okay, those who have it know exactly what I'm talking about. And so exercise in our culture may not just happen, but it takes it by taking charge of your fitness. It may be one of the best decisions really that you've ever made. And so the choice is yours. And this is another point, that there's no magical exercise. Many times I'm asked, well, what's a good exercise, to manage X, Y, or Z condition that I have going on? And honestly, the best exercise to do is the one that you enjoy doing and that you're going to stay consistent with. But then we also want to make sure it's crossing all the modalities, which is cardio, resistance, and flexibility. So we want to make sure that it's crossing all those things, but you want to make sure that you enjoy it. Okay. And the best way to do that is to schedule exercise like you're scheduling a meeting, especially when it's not a part of your routine. If it's not part of your routine, it's very easy to let it fall off when life gets in the way. So schedule it like a meeting and treat it as if it's a meeting. Stay committed to it and don't allow any and everything to derail you from working out. Set priorities. Everything is not an emergency. Sometimes allow some things to wait until after you get your workout in, but determine how it fits into your schedule in the best way. And some examples of some cardio type exercises, you can do brisk walk, hiking, stair climbing, jogging, running, cycling, rowing, swimming. I'm a big fan of taking fitness classes because it's led by a trainer. So therefore, you're more apt to get a total body workout versus spot training and things like that. So if you're a part of a gym of any sort, take advantage of their cardio classes. Sometimes they have a combination of cardio and weights where they're lighter weights, and then their resistance classes, and as well as their flexibility classes. So take advantage of all of that because you want to incorporate all that stuff into your daily routine. Okay. All righty. And so I'm gonna have a question for you. What is your favorite exercise? So if you will please share with me what is your favorite exercise? What is your exercise of choice? For me, like I said before, personal trainer led workout. So I actually do online at home. It was a time that I was in the gym for a few years, but most of the time I'm actually online in my quote unquote gym at home working out. And therefore, and you want to have a combination of cardio with weights, going heavy. And there's many ways to do that. Dumbbells, bands, you have a kettlebells, you have stability balls. So there's many ways, a step. So there's many ways to make it happen. And the one advantage of doing it at home online is it's not weather dependent. So if you're somebody who likes to go outside, take advantage of that, do that. That's great. But then when the weather's inclement, then go to your indoor one. So therefore you're not really missing out. And I have all kind of props. I have all kind of stuff. And so take advantage of what works for you. Okay. Powerlifting, good. And with that powerlifting, make sure, Nikki, that you include some cardio. Okay. And your cardio days should not outweigh your weight days. So really 1 to 2 days resistance, depending on how you do it. Sometimes people do upper body one day, lower body one day. Sometimes they do total body. But again, you want to have a rest, at least 48 hours rest in between. But your cardio days and cardio with lightweight days should outweigh. Okay. And when you do all that, then it all works together. Okay. But I love that you're powerlifting because a lot of times women are scared to lift weights. They think we're going to bulk up like a man. No, we will not. We have to take a lot of supplements and do a lot for that to happen. So don't fear the big dumbbells. That's good for us. That's good for us. And so the number two must know, eat well. Okay. Eat well. So what does that really mean? We hear that all the time. Well, first I'm going to tell you what it doesn't mean. Okay. It doesn't mean restricting, doesn't mean avoiding, doesn't mean eliminating. It doesn't mean cutting out carbs. It doesn't mean restricting carbs. Yes, you need to control your carbs based off of your specific needs, of course, but to cut them out to minimal amounts is not the answer there. And so you want to eat well and you want to eat your macros. People pretty much know your macros as your carbs, protein and fats, but what are carbs? Okay, people, they say carbs or they say they cut out carbs, but what are really carbs? And carbs represent 3 food groups. They represent the grains, they represent fruits, and they represent the dairy. And all 3 of those are important, okay? And when I say dairy, it's low-fat milk, fat-free, or lactose-free, or soy. So unfortunately, it's not almond milk and oat milk and all those. Those are almond milk is a fat. It's made from almonds, so it doesn't have the same properties as a dairy. And oat milk is made from oatmeal, so that's a grain, so it's different. So you can have those milks, but they're not a replacement for dairy. And grains, there's a variety of grains, and that tends to get cut out. But we have starchy vegetables like your potatoes, your corn, your peas, you have beans, you have grains like rice and pasta, you have breads, whether that's waffle, English muffin, taco shells. There's so many foods that are out there that people tend to cut out because they don't understand what it brings to the table. Okay, so that's what dietitians do. That's what we do. You want to, the more nutrients you get, especially for blood pressure, the more nutrients you get in, and you get variety, get potassium and magnesium and calcium, all these different nutrients that help support good blood pressure are in a variety of foods. Okay, so you don't want to just stick to one food. Okay. So you want to aim for a pattern that's rich in fruits and vegetables and whole grains. And I mentioned the low fat dairy products, lean protein, skinless, nuts, legumes, things like that, non-tropical oils. So you want to stick to your olive oils, your avocado oils, things like that, sesame oil. You want to limit saturated fats, which is typically whole dairy products like whole milk, 2% milk. You want to limit skin off of the various meats, highly processed food. So it's all about knowing how to read labels to know where that falls in. You want to cut out fatty red meats and pork, okay? Not the lean, but the fatty. Okay, it's a big difference. Big difference. Of course, sugar and sugar sweetened drinks, okay, added sugar, sweets, and things like that. You want to limit. Is it realistic to think you're never going to have something sweet? Absolutely not. Trans fat, you definitely want to avoid altogether, and that's really in ultra processed foods. But you definitely eating. That's what clean eating is. Clean eating is not restricting, cutting out food groups, depriving yourself. Clean eating is eating around the plate and eating foods in their whole food states as much as possible. Okay, and minimal process. But understand that everything is processed. Okay, a lot of times people think unless you're living on a farm and you're pulling it out of the ground, it's processed. So that spinach that's in that bag, it's minimally processed, but it's still processed. Okay, so don't think that you don't eat anything processed. We all do. Okay, we all do. Like I said, unless you are living on a farm and you're pulling it out of the ground, it's processed. All right. So those are some little nuggets there. So we talked about eating well. And I have a question. I'm looking for my next question here. And let's see here. I was going to ask you about whole grains. And so I'll just tell you what it is. So reply. So which ones do you feel like you need more of? Okay. Do you feel like you need more whole grains? Do you feel like you need more low fat dairy based off what I shared? Do you feel like you need more nuts or legumes, which are like the peanuts and things like that? Which ones do you feel like you need to add more of? Okay. I purposely didn't say vegetables because most people probably eat too many vegetables, and it is a such thing as eating too many vegetables, believe it or not. So, which ones do you feel like you're lacking? And some other examples of legumes like peanuts, chickpeas, beans, peas, things like that. So just kind of jot down where you and lentils and things like that. And so kind of jot down where you feel like you may be lacking and need some more, some more. Okay, because we all can always use an improvement. We all can take a facelift and do a makeover of what we eat. All right, number three. Let's look at number three. The number three must know in maintaining a healthy weight to help support our blood pressure. Okay, and I'm going to approach this one a little bit differently. Okay, and so maintain a healthy weight or to lose weight if you're overweight. Okay. And so let's define what overweight and obese means, okay? So overweight is if your doctor says, when a doctor says you're overweight, they say that you're slightly what's considered healthy. You're slightly over what's considered healthy as far as your weight is concerned. And so your risk for developing high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol is increased, okay? So that's generally when you're overweight. That's what that means generally. And that's where BMI comes in. So generally your BMI is over 25, between 25 and that 29.9 range. So it's less about height and weight because we in body composition and things like that. It's more about the fact that number means that we're increasing our risk for some chronic diseases, whether sooner or later. Okay. Obese means you have too much body fat. Okay. So it's about much more than your clothing size. It's more than about your clothes size, and it's more than about how you look. It can seriously affect your health. So that's really, especially if it's in the areas of the abdomen area, then we know that is a higher health risk. And that's where waist circumference and waist to hip ratios and all those come together, because that information is used to determine if you are increasing your risk for chronic diseases. So that's really what it's all about as far as being at a healthy weight. Okay. It's you get the bonus that we look good and all that, but it's really about the health risk. Okay. And so all three together, the BMI, your waist circumference, and your waist to hip ratio, all of those come into play and to get more of an accurate picture if you are at if you're at heart disease, if you're at risk for heart disease and other conditions that are linked to carrying a healthy weight, okay? Or extra weight. There's a link to if you're carrying extra weight. So that's what you really want to think about when you hear the doctor says, "Oh, you're in overweight range," or your BMI is in this obesity range. Look, it's more about your increased risk. Okay. And so I want to ask here, what are your current weight goals to prevent and or to manage high blood pressure? Okay, so hopefully most of us are in that we want to prevent it. That means you don't have it. And so where are you currently? Okay, are you currently been told that maybe you need to lose some weight in order to prevent? I went through that phase when I was in my early 30s and my blood pressure was elevating. I was told that I was advised to lose 20 to 25 pounds and I was just on that brink of that overweight BMI number. But in looking at me, you would think, okay, I'm okay. No big deal. But it was from my body and my frame. It was just too much for my heart because my blood pressure was elevating. And so think about where your range is, and are you at the point where you can maintain? I'm more at maintenance now, but I have to stay intentional though about it, because if my weight creeps up, which it has over the years, it will creep up. I have to reel it back in because it does directly. And I notice my blood pressure does go up when my weight goes up, especially when it gets to a certain threshold. And so if you've been told to lose, definitely take it seriously. If you have to give it, I say 6 months. I usually say 6 months because I like for people to do their due diligence and try on their own. But if it's not working, don't continue to play around with it. Okay. If you find yourself craving at night and binging at night because quote unquote, tried to do so well during the day, that's a good sign that you're restricting too much. And so get help, get help, get help. If your insurance has a dietitian, start there. I'm here, but get somebody who's trained to help out. Okay. And it's not just about blood pressure, it's also about preventing diabetes, it's about preventing high cholesterol. So it's about, think about inflammation and joint pain, all this, sleep apnea, all this stuff plays a role. Okay. All right. And so the big takeaway message from all of this, and taking the first step, and to keep things in perspective. And so if it seems like it's too much to take on, or you've tried to lose weight in the past and you're wondering, will it ever happen for you? Very, very, very common. And that's when you get to that point, that's when you know you need to get some help. Okay. Because weight loss is never about weight loss. I always tell people that there's so many other variables that come into the play to lose weight. That involves self-care, that involves boundaries, that involves sleep, that involves stress management. There are so many other things that are not related to food that feed into our food choices. Okay. And it's not about being a certain size. It's about taking those small steps in order to get to your ultimate goal. Okay. And if you lose as low as 5% of your total body weight that you currently have, that makes a huge difference. Okay. As you get closer to 10, of course, the benefits become even better. But just losing 5% of your current weight in real weights, okay? You don't want to lose it and then it comes back, okay? So you got to have the knowledge on how to lose it the healthy way and how to keep it off, because there's no point in losing it if you're going to gain it back. And so that's what it's all about. And so, in that regard, I will, what do you do? How do you apply all this stuff? And so one way that I have a gift that I want to give each and every one of you, as far as how do you eat healthier? How do you eat healthy for overall heart health? Because it's like there's a lot of things out there, but what do you do? And so for some, I have this 5-day meal plan, that includes recipes, fast and easy, but they're spread out over 5 days, and you have snacks, you have meals. And so it will help you to jumpstart weight loss if that's something you need to do. I call it a natural detox because it's clean eating, but yet you'll see that there's variety in its foods that you enjoy, and it will help you to boost your energy levels, and it will help you to start getting on track to learning what it means to eat healthier, to eat from a heart health perspective, to learn how to eat clean, so to speak. Okay. And so this is where you can download it from, and I'm going to put this URL in the chat as well. But it is free. It's newly revised, so I'm excited about that. It is newly revised, and so we have a lot of good stuff out there. It was 3 days, and now it is 5 days. And so if you have any questions or comments, any problems downloading, don't hesitate to reach out and put it in this thread. This concludes what I have for this week as far as your weekly dose of nutrition news for your mind and your body and your soul. And I thank you for tuning in. And remember, for this year, we are talking about creating a lifestyle of self-care, okay? And again, non-food things that need to be in place in order to make good food choices. And then we're trying to break those food strongholds, and we're continuing that from 2022, which is the cravings, which is the stress eating, which is using food as a coping mechanism. So those are things we want to kind of push away from, because all of that feeds into our increasing our risk for chronic diseases and blood pressure and things like that. And so next week, we're going to continue on Fall Into Your Heart series, and we're going to talk about cholesterol. Okay, so that is another big one. Cholesterol, heart health, how weight impacts, and how to add years back to your life. So a lot of people are the bad cholesterol is too high, so we want to get that, or the good cholesterol is too low. So we want to talk more about that. So thank you for tuning in. Bye for now, and have a great rest of your Tuesday. Bye-bye.